How's it going, guys? This is Sean here with
Demetrius.
and we're back with the football huddle episode 11 for y'all, where we're gonna talk everything high school, college, and pro football. So yeah, this is the start of our show, and you want to talk about a player that you got a chance to talk to this week?
The player I got to talk to this week was Seth Gale. He attends University Lab High School, or U-High, here in Baton Rouge. He's one of the main playmakers on that Cubs team. Just watching his highlights, it just seems that he's always open. I mean, whether it's down the field, across the field, or even he does returns too. He's just always a threat. Just wherever he's at on the field, just make sure you gotta just give him the ball, and he's gonna make something
Good things
happen.
are gonna happen, yeah.
And then this year he holds the career receiving touchdown record for U-High. So that's a pretty great achievement for
For
him.
a season or for
I think-
a career?
Yeah, I think it's for a career.
Oh, that is definitely very impressive.
So touchdown machine.
Just give him the ball. That's what I'm hearing. Just throw him the ball and let him do his thing.
And currently, at the moment, he doesn't have any offers, which was surprising to me because of the numbers that he's been putting up this season. But hopefully, this will change. Hopefully, this video it might change. I mean, anything
Hopefully
can happen.
People see some highlights from him. And obviously, if you want to check him out, he's on our website right now at Gridiron Football. The person that I got to talk to this week is Ryan Host, or Hostis. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. But he's a 3-star offensive lineman from Washington, Missouri. Really big guy, 6'6", 280 pounds. Yeah, he's a full force of just dominance. Just watching his highlights, he just kind of pancakes anybody who's in front of him. He just knocks over the person in his way and he's really good in the run game and gives his running back just dominant holes to go through. And he recently committed to Missouri next year to play in 2024. And, I mean, this guy's going to probably do something good there. I mean, he's just big-bodied and everything where he can just run through anybody he wants. I think he still says he wants to work on his pass blocking a little bit more, but his run game is definitely there. And then also last week I went to the first round of Louisiana football playoffs were starting, and I had the chance to go to the St. Augustine and the McKinley game at McKinley. St. Aug, they obviously made the playoffs and everything, but they're 3-7. But they're in a tough division, all the Catholic schools are together, so they came out there maybe not being the favorites, but just dominated the entire game. The end of the game was 43-6. So yeah, McKinley put up one touchdown late in the game. I mean, everything St. Aug was doing was working with them. They had the only turnover of the game. They got a pick. But their run game was just kind of unstoppable, and same with their throwing game. I mean, they have two receivers committed to D1 schools right now. So, I mean, they just have a hard team to defend, and they kept on moving the ball down the field and scoring until I would say the third or fourth quarter they started putting in their backup quarterback and then sprinkling in their backups here and there. Once they knew that the game was pretty much over and done for. But, I mean, they look to play – I think they play John Curtis next week, this Friday, on the 17th. And that should be a good game, too. Two good schools going against each other.
And I guess moving on to college, great win for the Tigers. I mean,
Of course.
putting up 52 points. I mean, once again, Jaden Daniels
Jaden Daniels, man, that's all you got to say.
looks unstoppable. I mean,
if you had to talk one thing LSU, it's always Jaden Daniels this year. I mean, he is playing a ridiculous year. I still think he's in the top 3 for Heisman, even though we have 3 losses. I mean, he's just been playing unbelievably, 372 yards and 3 touchdowns while rushing for 234 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, that is 500 yards from one man with 5 touchdowns with that. That's literally insane. And I mean, the fact that he was the lead rushing and passing yard for our team is impressive to say the least.
I think this performance, I feel like this should put everybody else on notice if they're not already on notice. I mean, you have a quarterback that throws for 300 plus yards and then also runs for 200 plus yards. I mean, who else is doing that besides Jaden Daniels? I mean, if
Maybe
he
Cam Newton back in the
maybe
day, but I mean, you're not really finding that's a diamond in a rough right there. You're not finding a ton of players like that, 100%. And I mean, I just also think that you can't give all the kudos to Jaden Daniels as he has been playing one of the best players in college football this year. I mean, his receiving core with Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors, they've been helping him a lot. Being I think both in the top 10 receiving yards this year, which is impressive to put two receivers in that category.
and I think having those receivers, I think that opens up the run game as well because you can't just stack in the box hoping making Jaden throw because if you make him throw, you got two great receivers on the outside ready to make plays. So it's just you
And
can't.
if they are covered, he can always tuck in and run it for a good solid game, which he did multiple times this time. It's kind of hard. It's been hard for defenders to defend against him, and he's making heads look right and left every single time he's on the field.
And then just once he gets to the outside, I mean, it's just really no catching him. I mean, people just looking at him play, people think he's not that fast, but just watching it in real time, like being there watching him, is great to see. I mean, just putting up 52 points, it's always great. High scoring games, you just love to see it.
Especially when last week we lose to Bama, we wanted another bounce back game. Maybe not to make the playoffs this time, but just for a mental thing to feel like we as a team are going to improve. Like maybe it's not going to happen this year, but next year, we want to see improvements every single week. And this was definitely a good bounce back game to show that our team is pretty talented and that and hopefully things will come. Bright things will come in the future.
Just looking at, I guess the games, the only upsets that I see is Kansas losing to Texas Tech, and then UCF beating Oklahoma State. I feel like they was riding too high once they beat Oklahoma 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not a whole lot of. I mean, not the biggest upsets in the world, but obviously an upset's an upset, and UFC played a great game, keeping Oklahoma State to not even scoring a touchdown. I mean, if you putting up 45 and letting three points be scored, I mean that's a great game for the team that's for obviously.
And then I guess going back to LSU, I guess this upcoming week, I mean I don't expect nothing less than 50 points again. I mean. I don't want to be the one to talk down on an opponent, but this is an opponent that this game it really shouldn't be close. If we're being honest, I mean, 97.4% matchup predictor.
Oh yeah.
They have us favored by 31. I mean is nothing really.
I mean this is one of those gimme games for the Tigers. This shouldn't be a loss. This should be an easy win. We should play the ball that we all know that we can do, and it should look very easy. And we should definitely have a good win. I mean, I'm expecting another Jaden Daniels game like he did this week against Florida. Maybe even better. Who knows? Maybe he'll top his already impressive performance from this past week. But I mean, they're gonna definitely do good things on offense and. I mean, this team should win this week.
I feel like we should win every week. I mean
yeah, we both will say that every week, but the wins and losses happen. The thing about football is all you need to do is play amazing for 90 or 60 minutes, and sometimes you make mental mistakes and you lose a game. But obviously, we try to do better than every time, and I'm expecting a big high scoring game for us this upcoming week too.
I mean, I wouldn't expect nothing less than 50. Really, I mean, if we're able to put up 50 against Florida and all these other teams. I expect us to do the same against a much lesser opponent. I find.
Let's get Jaden Daniels Heisman talk. Let's get him defined number one. We're gonna put up 120 points. It'll be fun. Jaden Daniels over 10 touchdowns. And yeah, we'll just run away with the Heisman. We'll take that.
1,000 yards combined for him.
Yeah, 1,000 yards on the floor and passing. He's gonna have a 2,000-yard game. It's gonna be great. But yeah, no, he should actually have a good game. Probably around the 300 to 400-yard range. I expect if we're beating them by a lot, we probably won't start him the whole game, but we might. Who knows? It is maybe his last 2 games at LSU. So, but probably around 400 yards passing. I'd say he probably gets over 100 yards rushing this game easily, and we'll see how the rest of the players play.
Minimum 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, I expect 5 total touchdowns or more from Jaden Daniels this week.
And I guess moving on to the NFL, you want to talk about your Saints? I mean,
yeah, we can talk about them.
What?
Yeah, we can talk about it a little bit. This is not what I was expecting. We started to look like we were figuring things out. I mean, coming off of a win. The Vikings are starting a new quarterback who barely knows their system. Even though he had an impressive win the week prior, he still, who knows if that was consistently going to be him or not. And apparently it was. He did a great job. But yeah, our team kind of, we fell fast. Our offense stopped producing like it has been the last couple of weeks, which isn't saying a lot. But we didn't give the ball a taste at all. We kind of just went back to things that weren't working, and it just wasn't ending up working. We weren't passing it to. In the first half, we weren't passing it to the people we needed to pass to. Chris Olave, before Derek Carr got injured, only had 1 target, and he ended the game with almost 100 yards, but all of those yards and that touchdown came from when Jameis came in. So Derek Carr he's on concussion protocol right now. But also other injuries in that game, which are now scary, is Michael Thomas is once again injured, and so is Marshawn Lattimore, and Dennis Allen said they're both significant injuries right now. So who knows?
What happened?
Pretty sure hamstring and ankle, lower leg injuries. But we don't exactly know how severe they are at the moment. Probably going to come out later today while we're filming this on a Tuesday. But yeah, so they're out right now, and who knows how long they're going to be out for. So we're going to have our rookie A.T. Perry step up, and we are going to have to utilize Taysom if we want to win games. We're still number 1 in the division because everybody else in the division lost, but we want to start breaking away from everybody else and start building a cushion for ourselves instead of being so close all the time. Derek Carr goes down, and then we throw in Jameis Winston, and Jameis Winston's just going to do Jameis Winston. He comes in, immediately throws a touchdown to Chris Olave on a wild throw that let his receivers just outdog the cornerback, and comes back. There's another cross-body, cross-field pass to A.T. Perry for another touchdown, and now we're only down by 1 touchdown going into the 4th, and then we see and then he tries to throw it deep to I'm pretty sure it was Rashid Shaheed, and just overthrew him. It was a bad throw, and it was a game-costing interception. We luckily got the ball with less than 2 minutes left in the game, and another bad throw from Jameis. I'm not gonna lie, those 2 interceptions were not pretty throws. I don't know if he was rushed in the pocket at all. Well, he was, but I don't know if that was affected him that much or if he slipped. But those 2 interceptions were game-losing interceptions, and they came at the wrong time when he was having such a great comeback. But it was just Jameis Winston kind of being Jameis Winston. And Derek Carr's questionable right now, but we'll see if he comes back.
I guess speaking about your opponent, the Vikings have sneakily came back with a 6-4 record, winning.
They're on a 4-game win streak right now, and they haven't had.
They're on a 5-game
win streak, and they have not had Justin Jefferson the entire time. And Kirk goes down in the middle of that. It's very impressive what they're doing. That's all I gotta say. They beat us.
I understand. I feel like they beat us too. I guess that I feel like people underestimated them, I would say.
I will 100% thinking that they would not be this close to the Lions. I thought the Lions were going to totally run away with this division. But probably getting Justin Jefferson back either this week or next week if he's fully healthy, and that going adding a great weapon to Joshua Dobbs, who already has Addison and Hawkinson to throw to. I don't know the news though. Your 49ers came back and had a great win against kind of a good team this week.
Watching the game, it made me realize that if it when fully healthy, the Niners are I want to say the best team in the NFL. And just adding Chase Young, that added just another element to the defense. I mean, that allows you to rush forward instead of having to bring blitzes and stuff. And then that's always great when you could get home with 4 and just have all the linebackers, safeties, corners just play coverage. And it was scary having at one point Nick Bosa and Chase Young combined on the sack.
I was literally going to bring that up after you were done talking. I mean, they literally got a .5 sack together, and that is not the duo that I ever want to get brought down with. And the fact that can happen at any point in time is pretty nerve-wracking.
And I think having those two on the edge, that allows the inside guys to get one-on-one reps or one-on-one opportunities, and then that really just opens up more stuff that you could do on defense. I mean, once you're getting pressure with forward, that creates turnovers as I saw during the game. I think Trevor Lawrence ended up throwing like 2 interceptions.
Interceptions, correct. Just not a good all around game for Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I know the team's been doing well, but he's kind of had a little bit of a rough year. I mean, he's getting the job done. I mean, people can say the same about Lamar, I guess, stat-wise. I guess it's not really a problem if you're not really scoring if your team is. I mean, talking about Lamar, everybody's talking how he hasn't been that impressive this year, or that he has been impressive, but they keep on saying the fact that his team's winning is why he hasn't been that impressive, because of his stats aren't showing for it. But I mean, if you're winning games and your rushing attack is getting 4 touchdowns a game, I mean, you're gonna take that. I mean, you're gonna take any way you can get a win in the NFL. So it's not the biggest deal in the world that he's not throwing for 4 passing touchdowns every game.
And then speaking of Lamar, they lost to the Browns, which was
nail-biting game.
It was a very close game with Lamar. I would say he gave the game away with those 2 interceptions. I mean, I understand Cleveland is a great defense and all, but I think they was up by double 2 scores in the fourth quarter. I mean, at that point you just got to put the game away. I mean, you got to take care of the ball.
I mean, the Browns are not a team I would sleep on at this point. They have proved to be one of the best teams. I mean, Deshaun Watson is looking not like his old self, but he's getting the job done, and that's all you can ask for. And obviously, a lot of people thought that this team would flop when Nick Chubb gets injured in that gruesome injury, and he's obviously recovering right now. But they've had. It's not fully a committee. It's definitely Ford leading the way, but you still have Hunt and Pierre Strong, and I mean all the other running backs in the locker room have been doing a good job continuing the run game when without Chubb being there, and their defense has obviously been one of the best in the last the last maybe half the season. They'll probably still be one of the best.
And then another team I would put just on the watch out is the Texans. I mean, just going into Cincinnati and then beating Joe Burrow, just as a rookie having that, just a game-winning drive, I felt like it's special. I mean, you go in, people thought of the Texans this year just to be one of those rebuilding teams, those 2-win teams, just have one of the top 5 draft picks. But as you can see, they've been competitive.
They're being a contender right now. I mean, there's conversation right now to put C.J. Stroud in the MVP category because I think he has the most passing yards in the league right now. He is winning games that people didn't think the Texans would ever win. They've already blown their win-loss total. I'm pretty sure it was at 3.5 for the season. They're already over that. So, I mean.
Would you put him in the MVP conversation?
I think you'd have to put him in the MVP conversation right now. He's had multiple games with like 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, who else do you put up there? You put Lamar up there, obviously. You put maybe Patrick Mahomes up there, Jalen Hurts, but like other than that, like C.J. Stroud is right with those guys, performing at the highest level as a rookie too. By the way,
Yeah.
like definitely has Rookie of the Year on lockdown,
Yeah.
but also could get that second MVP award if he continues to play like he's playing. I mean, what are they right now? The
I think they're
5-4.
Yeah.
5-4. I mean, no one thought they would have a winning record right now. I can tell you that. I surely didn't. I mean, you could probably say that the Panthers are pretty upset that they got Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud. But I mean, they look like they're doing good things, and also they just got LSU native Derek Stingley back. He's been out since week 2 with a hamstring injury, so that's a great add-on to add to your team that's already been playing super hot, and they are definitely the team to watch out for.
I think just D'Amico Ryans and the whole coaching staff, I feel like they have them prepare each game in and game out. I feel like they have a game plan and they execute it.
They execute it for
I
sure.
mean, sometimes you lose, but they've been winning, and it's not just been just against bad teams. It's been against good opponents as well. As we can see, they beat the Bengals. I mean, we have one of the Bengals as one of the top. We had them one of the top teams in the AFC.
Yeah, and I mean, also they do a good job plugging in players. I mean, Nico Collins has missed a couple of games. Noah Brown was out for the first couple of games of the season. Tank Dell. I mean, all these receivers have come in and all have gotten like a 120-yard game plus, and just all have done a fantastic job. They just know how to air it out. All they need to really do is fix their run game. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna. They rushed the ball with Singletary this week, and Singletary rushed I think 30 times for like 150 yards on 30 carries and a touchdown. I mean, Dameon Pierce is out, but do you stick with Singletary after this showing, or do you go back to your second year running back?
I feel like you should start with Singletary, but also keep Pierce in the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you should stop giving them Pierce carries just because as a running back, it's kind of bad to take that many hits and then having. You said 30 carries.
30 carries, a lot of carries.
That's a lot of carries, and I'm pretty sure he's feeling that right now.
Mm-hmm.
But
especially that tough D line from the Bengals.
And
yeah, I agree with you. I think they should probably get a committee. Obviously, that is the one thing they're really lacking in their team. I think not too many holes. Probably need to improve on defense. Obviously, it's still kind of still allowing 27 points in a game and still allowing points. But where they are right now, their future is super bright.
yeah, and I guess lastly we could talk about the Monday night game. I mean. Are we starting to put the Bills in the conversation? I'm starting to put the Bills along the same lines as the Chargers as being overrated.
I think you have to at this point. I mean, 5-5 right now, losing to the Broncos, who are 4-5. I mean, the Broncos' defense have been really good in the past couple weeks, but this is a game that everybody thought the Bills would win.
I personally thought they was going to win. I mean,
yeah, same. The Broncos, two back-to-back good wins, beating the Chiefs and the Bills. Do we either switch up the conversation and say the Broncos might make it to the playoffs?
I mean, I think they've been. Sean Payton has been letting Russ cook. I mean, I feel like even though the stats don't show it, just watching the game, there's like certain times that where he made plays, or it was a couple instances that he was. Creating space, not creating space, but like running around. Then he like shovel pass it to the running back, and the running back got the first down. I mean, it's just plays like those that just keep the drive going, especially on third down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just times. Really, I feel like the Bills deserved to lose that game with the way they played. They had.
Josh Allen on the first drive, he threw. It was almost an interception, but just not a great throw. Josh Allen coming out here throwing 2 picks. Having a pick in the last 6 games, just it's kind of being a little careless with the ball and needs to tone in a little bit. But I will say the Broncos, on the other hand, they do look impressive. Russell Wilson just passed more touchdowns than he had last season. I think he's 18 now. Last year he threw for 16. So obviously improvement with Sean Payton, and maybe it It needed just a little kick in the stomach, getting beaten by 70, to really just tone in and say that we need to try harder and figure out the ways to fix that. And I mean, Javonte Williams looked great. I mean, Cortland Sutton looked great. I mean, obviously they didn't trade Jerry Jeudy, so they do trust the team around them because they were at one point a full open market. But yeah, they I mean, 2 impressive wins for them, and I wonder if they'll continue it in this already tough division that they're in.
I guess just off this game, dude, I don't. You think they still have a shot to make the playoffs for both teams, really?
The Bills, with every loss, it's getting less and less likely. I mean, 5-5. Obviously, they have a better record than the Broncos, but the Broncos, both teams are shooting for wild cards at this point, and that AFC race right now is really tough. I mean, but there's a lot of teams in that same range. I mean, the Texans are in right now, and they're 5-4, but the Bengals are out, and they're, I think, 5-5. So anything can happen in the last couple of weeks of football. It just, you have to win the games that matter the most, and you have to kind of get a win streak going.
And I guess, is there any? I guess just looking at this upcoming week schedule, this Thursday night game could be a big game with the Bengals and the Ravens. I think that's a huge game for both teams, really.
That's definitely a prove-me game for the Bengals coming off of a loss to the Texans, obviously. And they're going to want to win this game to show that, I mean, this is a huge game for the division matchup itself. Huge division rivals. Obviously, the Ravens have a better record, but the Ravens want to keep on winning. They want to show teams that they're one of the best and that they can go all the way. So it's going to be definitely one of the better Thursday night games this year. Not like last week. But yeah, that should definitely be a good game. I mean, what's the Monday night game? Monday night too also will be a good game with Eagles and Chiefs, a Super Bowl matchup coming on Monday. So everybody's going to be watching that. That should be a fantastic game. I mean, who do you have your money on the rematch?
I think I'm gonna have to go with the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
I just think unless Mahomes and the offense, they could fix the problems that they've been having, but I just don't see that happening. I mean, unless the receivers just learn how to create space and catch balls just over the bye week, but I just don't see that happening. Just the Eagles, even though they haven't been playing amazing, great, they still find ways to win games. I mean, they're 8-1, so apparently they're doing something great. So.
I was gonna probably say the Eagles too. I mean, just the way that defense is going, and all those young players they got on that defensive core. The more experience they have, the more chances they have to win games, and the way that A.J. Brown is playing this year, like top 3 receiver right now. I mean, that team is just going to be hard to play, beat. You have DeAndre Swift in the backfield. You still have Devontae. Goddard might not be there at this point because he did fracture his arm. But, you still have a lot of talent on that team. And I think it's this time around a little bit more talented than the Chiefs, where they will come out victorious.
And don't sleep on the Sunday night game with the Vikings and the Broncos. I mean, even though that's not I wouldn't say a must-watch game, but it could be a sneaky
entertaining.
close
I mean,
game.
the Broncos have put on some good football, I guess, recently with 2 big back-to-back wins. So who knows if they're going to finally end? Who knows if they're going to finally end the Vikings undefeated or win streak and ruin Josh Dobbs' hype? We'll figure it out. All right, I guess with that being said, that's all that we have for you this week. It's once again you're here with Sean and
Demetrius,
and we'll catch y'all next week with the next episode of the Football Huddle. With that, we'll talk to you later.